Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel and welcome to my weekly reads. I hope you guys are well. Have you had a good week? Let me know in the comments below. Have a good old natter as we always do. So as you can tell from the title, it's my 1 year back on Booktube kind of anniversary this week, which I'm very excited for. I'm very proud of myself for. For those of you that don't know, I first created my channel back in 2018. I think I was on there for about a year and a half, 18 months sort of thing. And then obviously stepped away, and then I still was watching Booktube. I was still watching everyone's channels, but yeah, then but stopped making content. And then obviously last year I came back. So yeah. Before I get into all the natty stuff, I'm going to go through with and talk to you about my weekly reads. Even though, and also side note again, we're still a bit echoey because everything's still a little bit all over the place. I have finished painting. But obviously the lounge is still bare, barren, the house is all over the place. So thus, if it's a bit echoey, that's the reason. Anyway, into my weekly reads. The first book I want to talk to you guys about is one that it really surprised me. So anyway, this is Cat Lady by Dawn Porter. This is a book that Charlie, as I always talk about Charlie, recommended to me. And this is like, if you look at as you will be seeing the cover, because I listened to this on the audio, it's very pink, looks very contemporary, which there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but it doesn't, like on the surface of looking at the book, I would think this is not a me book at all. And I was so wrong. It's just like so funny. So anyway, I'll tell you about it. So in this book we follow Mia. At the beginning of the book Mia's got a cat called Pigeon, and she's at the beginning of the book we meet her. She's going to this like pet grief support group thing, and I think she's going because like she doesn't. So Mia has a lot of underlying issues that I don't think she really realizes about at the beginning of the book, and she's going because she's basically scared of Pigeon dying and anything happening to Pigeon, because obviously she loves Pigeon so much. But she goes to the group, pretends that Pigeon is no longer here, and obviously that she is a grieving pet owner too. And it basically, the book then sort of goes off on various other like tangents, and I don't want to spoil it too much because the thing about this book that I love the most was that it really surprised me. It talks about grief, and it obviously talks about being a pet owner, obviously the pet owner. And Mia is, I feel like she's written as a sort of like hyperbolic kind of character in a way, because some of the things that she does, and it's all very like, it's just a big piss take basically. And but obviously like Dawn Porter herself has got cats, so it's not written to sort of like mock people with animals in any way, but it's just so funny. The humour in it just literally, I was laughing out loud genuinely so much. There was loads of like little relatable bits for me as a person, because obviously Dawn I think is sort of similar age to me, and yeah, in it, within the pages of the book there was like a Timmy Mallet reference, which if you're not in the UK, which is it's a very niche reference, but it's a TV programme I watched when I was a child, and I'll put an image on screen of Timmy Mallet. He was a children's TV presenter, and yeah, it was just something I used to love when I was younger. But anyway, this book is just really good. I loved how it talked about Mia's love of her cat, even though, like I said, in some ways some of it was slightly extreme. And then also I just love like, she sort of like has like this sort of almost like found family element to it, and the narrator is who's it? And the narrator is narrated. The audiobook is narrated by Daisy Haggard, which I believe she's one of Dawn Porter's actual friends, but she narrates it so perfectly. She puts on these like gorgeous little voices, and I feel like for sure this book will be in my favourites of the year, which is a massive shock, because it's like, if like I said, it's just gosh. Or if you like, I feel like even if you don't have a pet, which I don't actually have any cat, I do not own any cats. The cats that you see on my like things are my sister's cats, my mum's cats. But yeah, even if you don't have cats, I still feel like, and pets, I feel like you still would appreciate this book. It's just so good. So yeah, thank you Charlie for another top recommendation. Seeing as I would talk about Charlie, I'm still currently reading The Refugees, so I'm about halfway through. This is a short story collection. again on screen. So I'm about halfway through that collection. Hopefully maybe try and finish it this week. I'm not really going to be rushing it because I'm enjoying reading a few stories here and there. Yeah, so that's still currently reading that. I also finished another Booktube kind of like I picked it up aside from Booktube, but I was nudged to read it because of Booktube. This is Against the Loveless World by Susan Abulhawa. And so Charlotte Malloy basically knew that I was going to be trying to read this in, and she like pushed me over the edge to sort of pick it up quicker. So, and I think this will count for a Booktuber's favourites. I'm doing a reading Booktuber's favourites this year, so this will count for that because this was Charlotte's favourite book of last year. So in this book we follow Nair, and she's basically at the beginning of the book she's in an Israeli prison. Yeah, she's in an Israeli prison called they call it the Cube, which if you look in the cover, obviously is why it's cube shaped, and you've got a person in the cube, which is it's this brutal. This is like the polar opposite of the previous book I mentioned, and actually would count as a Misery May recommendation, I would have said, because yeah, it's dark. Obviously, so she's at the beginning of the book she's in prison, and it's sort of like then you work your way back and forth in her timeline to see how she gets there. So yeah, it's brutal, it's horrific, it's but yeah, I really thought it was such a great, well-written book. So 100% I will check out more from this author in the future. I can see why it's your favourite, Charlotte. So yeah, great recommendation. Yeah. Also, another thing I was going to say is previously I had read this book, which is Kurdish Women's Stories, which is edited by Huzan Mahmood. And these two books really sing to each other because obviously they're sort of set. This is a non-fiction about, so they're not, even though it says stories, these are non-fiction accounts of 22 women, I believe. So if you have read this one, and you can, maybe I'd try and see if you could try and get hold of this. This is a Pluto Press book, so yeah. I feel like having read this, I could see a lot of, when I was reading this, it sort of gave me a greater context to it, if you know what I mean. So that's that. I think, oh yeah, and on Monday I was part of the lovely Victoria, What Victoria Read. She did a 12-hour live show, which was crazy of her. She's just brilliant. It was to celebrate her 3,000 subscribers. Well done, Victoria. And I started reading this on the reading sprints. So, and this is Small Worlds by Caleb Azumah Nelson. I haven't actually read any more since Monday because I've been busy decorating and doing other things. So I want to maybe try and read that today. Everything I read of it, I enjoyed. I think this is set. So in this book we follow Stephen, and it's basically set over the course of 3 summers, sort of as he's sort of coming into adulthood. He's going to university, and yeah, it's set in 2000. Starts in 2010, so yeah, 3 summers, 2010, 2011, 2012, I think that's right. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to this. I also picked up Cuddy last week at some point, I cannot remember when, and I read about, I don't know how many pages, quite a chunk of it, and then but I didn't actually get to I only read the poetry type part of it, and sort of then I DNF'd it. But we were speaking to Bob. We had a live show with Bob the Booker on Monday for one of our, it was also for our Plodalong. So, and he said that he read it via audiobook. So I think I may try and attempt to listen to this via audiobook, and this could be on the Bookcast. Whilst it's a DNF, it's probably a DNF for now. Right. So the last book that I started this week, and that I've kind of raced through is The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. The Poisonwood Bible, in case you don't know, this is like a modern classic. This was written in 1998, which is important for what I tell you about in a minute. And in this book, we follow the Price family, and they are missionaries, and they have gone to the Congo. They're a Christian family, and they've basically gone to the Congo, and they're sort of carrying out missionary work over there. And basically, it's the mother, the father. So the father is Nathan, the mother is Orlina. And then you've got their 4 children, which are Rachel, Leah, Ada, and Ruth May. And basically, yeah, so it's like their sort of adventures in sort of their time at the Congo, etc. This book has got like really high ratings on Goodreads. This has like got more than, I think it's average of just 4.1 stars or something. So this is a beloved book. And when I first started listening to it, because I listened to it on audiobook as well as like I'm reading it physically, I just couldn't understand why so many people loved it so much, because of the fact that, so this book I don't feel like has aged particularly well. I mean, there are a lot of, in terms of the dated elements within it. So this book is set in the 1960s and it's written in the 1990s. It was written in the 1990s, which is 25 years ago. And so how it talks about, I felt like how it talks about like racism, and also how it talks about like disabilities, both of those things have not aged well, like, because like it's just like, obviously you're hearing from these child narrators and they're talking about, they're basically saying what they're seeing, and it just really like grated upon me. And like I said, in terms of the ableism side of things, there's one of the sisters, Ada, is born with disabilities, and she's a twin, and she's sort of like almost like written like she's perceived as like less than, which obviously in the 60s, that's maybe a person with disabilities would have been looked upon like that. But no, me knowing that it's written in the 1990s, I feel like, to me 1990s isn't very long ago, but obviously, like I said, it's 25 years ago. So at the beginning of the book, it just took me a long time, like it took me a while to kind of get over the gratingness of how dated it felt, if you know what I mean. So it just was annoying me so much with the language of how these characters were talking. But once I kind of got over that and kind of tried to like put all that aside, because knowing, like I said, putting it all in perspective, once I put all those elements into perspective, and I just let myself be soaked away with the story, Barbara Kingsolver is clearly a very talented writer, which I already know anyway, because I read and loved Demon Copperhead, which is partly the reason I think when I was reading this, I was like, this is just not as good as Demon Copperhead, but it's never meant to be, because it's a very different story, obviously, anyway. And but yeah, the actual story with the sisters, I'm actually really enjoying now. So, and I have sped through it, like I said, 3 days ago, and I'm already like nearly 500 pages in, and I haven't wanted to put it down. And there was also like animals, particularly, you know, I love books with animals and stuff in it. There's a pet parrot called Methuselah that they get, which I just loved so much. He was really, really comical to me. Yeah, and each of the sisters are very distinctive, and they've all got their own like personalities. I kind of like feel like as well, I was like getting like Little Women, I'm getting like Little Women vibes from this book, which, so if you like Little Women, you might like this. This does give me that feeling because of the sisterness within the pages and how the sisters are with each other, etc., and like their individual characters, etc. So yeah, that was a long-winded way of saying, yeah, I'm basically enjoying it a lot more now. So whilst at the beginning it was grating on me and I wasn't really sure, I've carried on reading it, and I want to try and finish this today because I am really, really enjoying it, and I want to know what happens in the story. So yeah, that's that. I don't know, I'll talk about like the live shows and things I did in the Plodalong, and then I'll talk about like my 1 year on Booktube. So in terms of live shows that I've done, so obviously Monday I took part in, like I said, in Victoria's live show. So I'll link that below. Also on Monday evening, like I said, we spoke to Bob the Bookerer, and we had a wonderful discussion with him about all the books that he's read and loved from the Women's Prize, and then also it was just loads and loads of fun. Like, Bob is hilarious. He's brilliant. He's wonderful. It was wonderful to natter with, and I feel like we could have just nattered to him for hours and hours and hours. So yeah, thank you, Bob, for joining us on the Plodalong. Yeah, very much appreciated. The next one I'll put all the links in the description. We've only got one more one with a guest, which is on not this Sunday that you're watching it, but the following Sunday at 4 p.m. So yeah, dates across the screen, and that we will be having our lovely friends Dani and Ange. So we're like, that is like a perfect sort of way to end the Plodalong. And we will obviously be having finally a reaction video to the a live reaction video to the winner of the Women's Prize on the 14th of June. So yeah, coming to the end of it now. So yeah. Yeah, thank you again everyone that's participated, if you're either a guest or if you've just been joining in and being one of our fellow plodders. So yeah, we're very, very, very grateful for you, and it's just been the most fun. So that is all that stuff. I've also got a library haul which I will show about after I've talked about my yearly thing on Booktube. I don't know if I've got a load to say about my Booktube, being back on Booktube a year. Just the fact that again, it's been like, I feel like this time round has been a bit of a different experience. The first time back in 2018 when I first started my channel, I took everything so seriously. I am still a worrier, as you guys know. I worry about everything. But I feel like I was like 2 videos a week, every week, blah, 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 and I was like so like strict, and like I was really worried about every single video I put up, making sure I had a variety of different things. And maybe if I was a lot more serious about the type of content I put up and put more effort into it, obviously I would probably reap the rewards of getting more subscribers. But I'm kind of happy like where I'm at with things and having like doing what I'm doing. Yeah, so this time around I feel like I'm much more relaxed about the videos I'm making. And I'm just here to like have it as like almost like a diary of the things I'm reading. And then also it's really lovely to still be part of the community and be talking to you guys. You are all so amazing. Like I feel like the last year has been such a big learning curve again. Like that's another thing, when I came back, coming back last year, I feel like Booktube is a different place to when I sort of left it almost, because in 2018, like obviously there's so many things, the things that were popular then obviously aren't popular now, and it was, yeah, I guess that's a bit of a like a learning curve, like I said. Also, I feel like I was obviously trying to find my place in terms of like making new connections with different people, which I definitely have done, and you guys are just amazing. All the new channels that I found and all the new subscribers that I chat to, and like the people I chat to, like you guys obviously are people, you're not just subscribers obviously. I feel like I've made like actual connections with loads of you guys, and it's just been like, that's like such a favourite part. Obviously we had stuff with my mum last year, and I still was making videos, which I don't know how I did any of that. I did make less videos, but you guys during that time just gave me the most support ever, and honestly I'm so grateful to you. Genuinely, like I was at my lowest ebb during those times, because it was just such a difficult time, and yeah, you just kind of guys wrapped me up with love and made me feel very secure and stuff. So yeah, thank you. I've also had loads of cool highlights this year. Me and Charlie have obviously did our Booker videos, and then our Christmas cracker videos. We have like me and Charlie, whenever I film with Charlie, like we have the most fun. He's just, you know, guys know he's like a genuine friend to me. Like I talk to him all the time. Charlie's just brilliant. A big thank you obviously to my big sister Emily. Like I feel like Emily always credits me with her joining Booktube, but I would definitely put her up there with helping me come back on and supporting me coming back onto Booktube. So my big sister Emily Novel Novels, links in description. She's amazing. She's just so wonderful. I'm so proud of her for everything she does as well. So yeah, I definitely would credit her to her support for coming back onto Booktube again the second time round. So yeah, and then also obviously the little waffle group that I'm part of, a lovely bunch of ladies which I just think are just like the most genuine people again. So yeah, grateful for them. So yeah, and also obviously another highlight, so we've got 2 more highlights from the last year which I would definitely count. I would count firstly the lovely wonderful Katie invited me to her book launch, which was just amazing because I got to meet loads of cool booktubers as well, and then obviously meet Katie, and like obviously we got her book signed and everything. I really want to read Katie's book. I've decided that because I'm not really reading as much physically at the moment, that I think I'm going to buy the audiobook. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that soon. I don't know whether I'll read it this month because I've got quite a big pile of possibilities. but we'll see. And then yeah, so thank you. So that was a highlight. Also, obviously, a big highlight has also been obviously the Plodalong with Jem and Alice. This has like taken up like many months of the year, many weekends, many evenings, and it has been a lot, but yeah, it's for sure been one of the highlights of the year. It's not only has it been fun, like Jem and Alice are just like so brilliant and wonderful ladies. I just love them so much. Also, like having you guys, interacting with you guys, and obviously the wonderful guests that we've had, like between those, all of that, it's just, yeah, the Plodalong is for sure a highlight of the year, and it will be, and a highlight of my last year. So yeah, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it other than just thank you for everybody that has watched and supported me this last year coming back onto Booktube, and I can't wait for sort of more adventures the next year. I'm not planning on going anywhere, so you're stuck with me for now. So yeah, that's that. I went to the library on Tuesday because we were in town, and my daughter was shopping with her friend, so I was like, I went to pick her up, and yeah, I got a big pile of books, so I'll show you them. Actually, before I show you the library books, I wanted to shout out to the CaribAthon. So the lovely Peter from Comfy Cozy Up and Karen from Run Right Reads are hosting the CaribAthon this month. They host it every single year, and I'll put the dates across the screen. I think it's the 7th to the 17th this year, but obviously Caribbean Heritage Month is all month, so, and obviously you can read Caribbean books all year, as I try to do anyway. But yeah, so big shout out to that. I am planning on taking part. I have got a few books physically that I've got here. I've got 2 books physically that I've got, and I've also got a big load on Scribd, and also on my Zigzag I've saved some titles. But yeah, I want to try and get to Small Island this month by Andrea Levy. I loved picture on screen of the other book that I read by Andrea Levy previously, which I really enjoyed, and I'm hoping to read this. If I can try and get this on audio, because obviously this is quite a chunky book. I think it's like, is it 500 pages? Yeah, more than 500 pages. So if I can try and get this on audio, I will, because like I said, I'm listening to more audio than I'm reading physically. But yeah, if I can, I'm going to try and get to this month. And then also, in terms of if you want, so those of you, because obviously it's Pride Month this month as well, and again, we don't just read Pride books in June, we also read them throughout the whole year. But in case you kind of want a book that kind of like crosses between CaribAthon and also like a queer lit read kind of thing, I recommend this. So this is Unwritten Caribbean Poems After the First World War. There are some like queer authors in here as well. Yeah, I know Jay Bernard has written a poem in here, and they are a non-binary Caribbean author. So yeah, there you go. Well, I think they have Caribbean roots anyway. So yeah, there we go. That's fun. I'm going to try and reread. I have already read this before, but I want to reread it. Seeing as I were talking about like TBR, kind of like parlour possibilities kind of thing, I might as well, before I show you the library haul, I've also got The Terrible I want to try and reread possibly this month, if not at some point this year, because I read this when it first came, like, no, I didn't read it when it first came out. I read this quite a few years ago, possibly in 2018 actually, by Ursula Daly Ward, and I loved it. So that's that. I've also been trying to get to this Rainbow by Lydia Conklin for ages. I'm not the best with short stories. I take forever to read them, ironically, even though they are indeed short stories. I have watched, so the lovely Lauren from Lauren and the Books did a video. She did, basically she got loads of tips from all of her subscribers, and then used those tips in order to sort of like, she used them to how to get the most out of like reading short stories. I'm going to basically try and write down the tips from that video. Even though I have watched the video, and then I'll try and use it to try and work my way through this short story collection. Because they're already tabbed out. I already had, so I'm one step ahead of that already. That was one of the tips. Books flying everywhere. And then I will obviously send this. I will send this to you, Kit, as I promised this to Kit, but it'll take forever to read. Now then, here are the books that I picked up from the library. I picked up 6 books. from the library. Clearly I was there too long a time. They probably wanted to get rid of me. And so the first book I picked up was one I'd seen in Waterstones, because I had previously gone to Waterstones prior to going to the library to see if I could like maybe get one book, but I couldn't actually see anything that I wanted. Anyway, the first book I picked up was one I'd seen in Waterstones, which is a brand new release called Mother Hens by Sophie McCartney. I think this is kind of like a chick lit murder mystery, and like the tagline thing says is in this book, it says 4 friends, 3 nights, 2 murders, 1 heck of an adventure, a rollicking roller coaster ride from Ibiza to Vegas via Cheshire. Mother Hens will make you laugh, wince, and wonder whether any of us, of what any of us are really capable of when push comes to shove. So, and this is one I actually started reading in the cafe because the girls were just sat down gobbling up their cake and having a natter. So that's actually the first one I like went to, which is, this is a pink book. This is for you. You always tease my sister that she's obsessed with pink books. So I picked this up because of you, honest. Then I picked up Big Girl, Small Town by Michelle Gallen, and this was, I'm sure this was like a favourite of Sean the Book Maniac's like last year or the year before. And also I know that Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot also adored this book last year, I believe. So if I can get to this, like within the realms of all of the books I want to read this month, then I will. But if not, maybe I'll try and like park it for another time. But yeah, it just sounds amazing, and I feel like it sort of gives me like the Louise Kennedy vibes from like Trespasses vibes, because obviously this is an Irish author. Then we've got Friendaholic by Elizabeth Day. This is a non-fiction. I went upstairs and looked at the non-fiction, and this was another new release. I think this is out this year, 2023. And this is Elizabeth Day talking about friendships, because there's not many books that talk about friendships, to be fair. It says, I'm going to read you the blurb for this one because it's quite interesting. As a society, there's a tendency to elevate romantic love, but what about friendships? Aren't they just as, if not more, important? And why is it so hard to find the right words to express what these uniquely complex bonds mean to us? In Friendaholic, Confessions of a Friend Addict, Elizabeth Day embarks on a journey to answer these questions. So yeah, this is also on Scribd. So if you guys have got Scribd, the audiobook of this is available on Scribd. So I may just try and, now I know that, I may try and listen to this on audio at some point. I've also found Out of the Woods by Luke Turner. This was one I remember Simon Savage years ago talking about loving, and again when I was looking in the like non-fiction upstairs, this is one that sort of like, as soon as I saw it and recognised it, I was like, oh, I've been wanting to get to this for ages. So hopefully I can try and get to this in June, or if not at some point else. Then 2 more fiction that I saw downstairs, both queer fiction I believe. This is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. Shelley Parker Chan, I believe, is a non-binary author. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And this is, I think, a fantasy. This is really a book outside my comfort zone. I'm not sure whether I'm going to prioritise this or not, because this is like really outside my comfort zone. So if you've read this and you've loved this, please can you tell me, because yeah, this is like, even though the cover's so super gorgeous, but yeah. Yeah, it's set in China in 1345. So there's a famine-stricken village on the dusty yellow plain. A seer sees 2 children, their fates, for the boy, greatness, for the girl, nothingness. Isn't it? It says, one of the taglines says, can she outwit her destiny and rise as high as she can dream? So yeah, it does sound like really good. Then lastly, but not leastly, is one I'm hoping to get to imminently, because Charlie has also picked it up from the library, so if we can read it at sort of similar time, it will help us move along reading it. And this is In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. I had previously tried the sample of this on audiobook and didn't get along with it. Also, I know the lovely Kit DNF this recently, and I do trust what like their recommendation, like what they say about things, even though sometimes we have similar tastes and sometimes we have different tastes. But yeah, so I don't know. And the ratings for this on Goodreads are really high. I think it's like 4.34 or 4.34 I think is the Goodreads rating on this. So this is like a really, really popular book. I think this is sort of set in wartime, in the war times, I think. does it say on the blurb? 1914, war feels far away to Henry Gaunt, Sidney Elwood and the rest of their classmates safely ensconced in their idyllic boarding school in the English countryside. Yeah, I think this is about, this is a queer book about two men. This as well has been highly tipped for being on the Booker, because I remember at the beginning of the year, Eric Carl Anderson had said that he bumped into one of the Booker judges and they were raving about this book. One of the Booker judges was raving about it. He didn't say obviously which judge, but yeah. This is a high possibility of being on the Booker list. So, like, long list. So I need to read this. Like, I need to at least try it, like, properly. Those are all the books. This is a long video. I'm so sorry. I'm hoping I can try this down. Charlie, editing Charlie. Anyway, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for all your love. Hope you guys have happy June, whatever books you read, and whatever books you get to, and also whatever you're doing. Let me know in the comments below. Just, yeah, sending you guys lots of love. Take care. Goodbye.